maybe prescient. Maybe she was just campaigning. Have a listen to something Nikki Haley said while she was still on the campaign trail.
Most Americans do not want a rematch between Biden and Trump. The first party to retire its 80-year-old candidate is going to be the party that wins this election.
Oh, my.
And I think it should be the Republicans that win this election. So our fight is not over because we have a country to save.
Joe Huizenga.
No, her fight was over.
Do the Republicans suddenly have an age problem?
I don't think so. Nobody's got a stronger base than President Trump, but there'll certainly be some questions, but nobody will call for Trump to step down like they were with Biden. He hasn't shown any signs, and even if he did show signs, I can't imagine that he would ever admit that he had an issue.
Yeah, I think he would go scorched earth is what he would do, is that anybody that asked him to step down is now out. Like, you don't challenge the throne, right?
The difference between Trump and Biden, too. Biden was supposedly hidden for the last 6 months or so.
Yeah.
Trump has never been hidden in his life.
No, that's true.
Show me a camera or a microphone that he doesn't run to and make a comment in front of.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
We all get to see his life on display every single day.
One of the things, and I even heard the guys in the afternoon talking about this too, is as bad as that debate was for Biden, and we talked about it, like the bar was pretty low, and Biden didn't hit the bar. Trump looked like the most competent person in that debate.
By far.
But Trump was also a little going off the rails too. And some of his campaigns, he gets talking about ships sinking and sharks and weird stuff too. I mean, there are some things that make me wonder, is that suddenly what had been a weakness for the Democrats, is it now a weakness for the Republicans?
Well, he's referred to his opposition as Obama before, not Biden when he was running. And people always want to pick on Biden for
Vice President Trump.
The Putin comment when he was trying to think of Zelensky, or the VP Trump when he was trying to think of his VP Harris.
Which is fair criticism, by the way. They're all fair criticism.
It is, but Trump's just kind of get glossed over. No, I don't think we're going to see that with Trump, though.
Okay. All right. Very good. The Democrats have raised a ton of money over the weekend. So Biden yesterday, about 1:45 our time, says, I'm out skis. In that time, I had the number of $50 million. You had a number earlier today that
about
was
80 or so?
$80 million.
And I want to correct you just real quick. About,
sorry, what did I say?
11 our time, about 2 Eastern is when Biden was out skis.
I was backwards.
Yep.
Thank you. Okay, very good. Yeah. So 1:45 Eastern. Thank you very much. Act Blue processed roughly $73.5 million just after Ruth Bader Ginsburg passed away in September of 2020. It looks like they have surpassed that now in the donations since Biden has stepped down. So as far as Democrats donating, what drives Democrats to open their wallets?
Not Biden.
Death and retirement seems to really do it for Democrats.
So how much of that money is a $10 million donation from some super PAC out there, from some huge donor? Or is that $5 from Ethel in...
Yeah, if it comes from Act
in a
Blue,
retirement
then it's
community.
a smaller donation.
Okay.
It's not a big PAC donation.
So we're talking like $100 or less, basically?
Probably,
So
yeah,
that's a
fair to
lot
say.
of money then, and they already had, what, $250 million on hand?
Yeah, they definitely had a war chest there. And remember, as we described yesterday, if you missed it, Joe and I came in to talk about what was going on as the news was sort of evolving throughout the day. We popped in here, and all of it seemed, I don't know, fluid at the time. Right? All of this seemed very, very out there. And I feel like we were able to sort of put some context to it. By the way, Harris, it looks like, is going to be the nominee. Her name, and this is what we were talking about, is Harris's name is on basically the account. Like opening a joint account with a spouse. You're on the account, the spouse is on the account. If your kids want to get money out of it, probably going to have to go through probate in order to make it happen if you and your spouse both kick off. But if one of you kicks off, the spouse still has access to it. Kind of the situation here. I know it's not an exact representation, but kind of like that. Harris looks like she's going to be the nominee.
It sure seems like the presumptive nominee. I know that...
Can't even say that officially,
that hasn't
right?
been declared. The only thing that gives me any pause, and I know Nancy Pelosi came out today and backed VP Harris to be the nominee.
Yeah.
Obama didn't yesterday, though.
Yeah.
And you also had Hakeem Jeffries, Chuck Schumer, some of the other big names in the Democratic Party not coming out and saying, hey, we want it to be VP Harris. And that made me think, not that they don't want it to be her, but just in particular with Obama, does he want it to be more of an electoral process? Does he want to not have somebody just picked? Does he want to have it go through the delegates or have some sort of voting process so that people can sit there and say, you know what, we did, I'm not using the right language here, but we did select this person. We didn't just anoint them.
Yeah, I think that's something that the GOP is going to hit really hard. And frankly, I think they should from a tactical standpoint. That's a good tactic to try to say, look, they're picking and choosing who it's going to be. You voted for Biden. You're not getting that person. I don't know how effective that is going to be. MAGA's going to say what MAGA's going to say. Mm-hmm. Democrats are going to vote Democrat. We're really still talking about the margins, and especially the margins in swing states. How many independents, even right-leaning independents, are going to say, well, you know, I was thinking about going to Kamala because I don't like Trump, but since they anointed her, I guess I'll vote for Trump anyway. I don't think that people who are right-leaning and had resigned themselves to voting for Trump because they didn't want the doddering old Biden, I don't think they're going to say, I don't think that's going to be a deal breaker for them.
I agree with you, but on the flip side of that coin, people who didn't like the doddering old Biden, I don't think they're necessarily in love with it being Kamala Harris. I think they sit there and go, this could be an extension of the last 4 years. Maybe they were okay with that, or maybe they sit there and, like, if I'm an independent, which I am, I still sit there and go, I don't like either of these parties. I know what Kamala Harris is all about. She's about what Biden was all about. I don't like Trump. He is a 78-year-old guy, and he says a lot of wacky stuff at times. I don't really like either side, and there's not a fresh face who's going to get into this race right now.
This is one of the things that I was reading this morning, that if your issue with Biden was his age, fragility, senility, then you're fine with Harris. If your issue was with his policies, then you're bothered by
Mine
Harris.
was both. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, okay. So are the people who have issues, we'll weigh it here, because I wonder, I don't know how many people.
I think they've cleaned up half of their mess.
That's a great point. Yeah. I don't think they're all of a sudden going, well, now I have to go to Trump. I just don't see that necessarily being the case. One thing, and you hit on this when you said presumptive. I guess we can't say presumptive. We think it's going to be. Is there going to be a process? It's confusing. And I'm a little curious as to why. As much as these parties try to plan for every contingency, it seems like they've got a playbook for everything that could happen. And yet, there's no clear path forward.
Thanks for watching The Chris and Joe Show. Click to see more from Chris and Joe and tap the button in the middle to subscribe to KTAR News.